Hey guys, welcome to another week, another teaser. So this one will be from the 22nd until the 26th of September. Let's see what we have coming up on Monday. Cat is totally staggered by Braboiki's demand. I like this developing storyline here where we're getting a little deep into Braboiki's character, and also they are playing the peer pressure angle. Like those desperate times calls for desperate measures, kind of thing. So I like this developing storyline. I hope it goes somewhere. It's not something again that will drag, and whatever that they're trying to do here, it's only revealed next year, Jan or around Feb. I hope they get quickly moving with this so they can get to some other stories. But I like this is now going to become one of those storylines that I will be glued to, um, for the two reasons that I've mentioned. Pex rudely chases away an ex-girlfriend from his house. I wonder what the girlfriend wants. I mean, you date someone and then you all break up for whatever reason, and then it's like a year after, and then you just get like a random text out of the blue. It's nothing good. It's never good. So we'll see. A scorned man plans to avenge himself. They're talking about Lihasa. Yeah, so this is Lihasa. Tuesday, Kat is prepared to risk everything for justice. For justice. Okay. Because I don't think this is the same as the storyline Braboiki and because this is talking about justice, so I can only wonder what justice, or maybe that he has been overshadowed. So the justice is him trying to do something for himself, so he can show that he is a key player. But why would that be justice? That's the bit that. Oh, I don't think that is that, because justice then it would make sense. But we'll wait and see. A newlywed considers adopting a double barrel surname. So this is what's her name? Pretty and Lhasa. And this is something that I see all the time, where you have big media that tries to push a certain agenda, a certain narrative. And if you have been paying attention for the past month or two, on most of the TV shows, there's been this double barrel surname thing going on. And one can only wonder, like, why, what is it? What is it? Because there has to be some kind of agenda, because you can't have you can't have multiple shows almost saying the same thing and at the same time. So it's like they're trying to do, whether that's to enforce this, or to I just have no idea, but something is off there. I think big media or someone is trying to push this narrative, this double barrel narrative, so it becomes like a norm. Even though I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's like, yeah, do whatever you want to do, but I don't think it's something that you should be forced into, or you think, because here's the thing with TV shows, you are educating people, whether that's intentional or unintentional, but you are educating people. And if you have young people who are consuming that content, and they don't have a support structure, or at least someone they can talk to regarding most of these things, then they're growing to grow up with that kind of attitude, which is like, no, I need to do this because this is the right thing, or because this is how it should be done, without ever thinking that they were molded to think that. So all I'm saying is, I think it's better, like, if you want to bring this up for a conversation or a debate, the double barrel saying, then let's have that conversation. But it can't be brought up indirectly, like indirectly brought up, so it can mold, it can shape the minds of the next generation, which that's where I have a problem with. This is not even something that should be, you know, uh, okay, I'm going too far with this, but yeah, that's just my opinion. So I'm just gonna leave it there. I just think something is off, seeing how they are almost trying to push this narrative of double barrel sending, whatever. And not saying that I'm against it or whatever. I'm just against the way that they're going about it. That's all. So Pex reconnects with Shay. Again, this is a bad move. Pex should have just, you know, he should have just moved a little different. There's a reason why people break up. There's a reason. So you can break up with someone and then you can get back with them. The chances of that waking out for the second time, especially if the thing that led to the demise in the first round, they were never solved, then what would be different on the second round? Wednesday, Mapiti receives a startling revelation about her husband. Or that he's doing some dodgy dealings. This I can only assume that this has something to do with her finding out what's really happening with the tenders, or how they got the tender, or whatever the case. I'm assuming it's something that will also be an interesting story or developing story. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Kat vows to take on a dangerous man. Okay, I'm assuming they're talking about Braboiki, but taking him on, as in take him on the offer, because this sounds like it's going head to head, not really going into a partnership. It's more going head to head, meaning then it's whatever justice that they were talking about, or I think it might have something to do with this, because then this now makes sense. Pretty has a horrible time in court. Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna say much on that. Thursday, Kat reaches breaking point as his dreams slips through his fingers. What are his dreams? All of a sudden, this is his dreams. Well. I'm assuming that they're talking about the tender. So that's I've never heard Kat mentioning that he wants to expand, or he's looking into alternative options, or exploring alternative options. I've never heard him say that. So that's why I'm really interested to hear or see what this his dream is all of a sudden, because it can't be that tender thing that just happened like recently. So we'll wait and see. This is by the way, this is bad writing. This is a good story. You always you can leave the pieces so that people can piece them together, and then once you piece it together, then it's like, oh, of course. So hence I'm saying they haven't been dropping those hints, so that when they drop something like this and then you piece all the pieces together, then it will be like, oh yeah, this makes sense. So there hasn't been any of that. Moving on, Pretty drops a bombshell that shakes Lhasa to his core. I wonder what that is. But I think it's something that she told her mom that she wanted to do. I just can't remember what it was, because I was distracted at that time, so I can't remember what it was. But I think this is that. Mr. Homu's worst fears about Shay start to materialize. Like I've said, it's never good. It's never good. You haven't seen this person, and it doesn't even have to be like someone you've dated. Sometimes it's a friend. Sometimes it's a relative. Sometimes it's family. You haven't spoken to them in a while, like a year or over a year, and all of a sudden just like hey or hey you know, that's never good. Can't wait to see what happens. Also, I think that would be it's an interesting developing story if it ends up being a story, because there's a reason why she's coming back to Israel, and then that reason should be, you know, should be compelling. Friday, headlines that pursuing the truth has its consequences. Also, you know, now that I think of it, a nice twist here would be Cat all along. He was just trying to 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 get to expose Graboiki, basically. I think that would be a nice twist, but we'll wait and see. And an unexpected phone call throws the Siakamelas into a crisis mode. I can't even imagine or think what this could be, so I'm not gonna say much on that. Moving on, Shay brings up a past Mr. Home who thought he had buried. Like I'm saying, it's never good, it's never good. But I wonder what past this is. I wonder. But you know, this sounds like an interesting developing story. It sounds like it. So I can't wait to see. Where that goes. So yeah, that was it. Again, not so much around the drug laws and drug dealing story. I'm not sure what's happening. I would have loved to see that developing and going on and you know, I just think, you know, there's a lot of stories that Skeem can really play with and adapt as they go, and they're not doing that. A lot of those good stories, they just, you know, they just die, and it's like they just go nowhere, basically. And those are the stories that I think, you know, they can do a lot. You know, sometimes you can start with one story but end up with a lot of stories that branched off from the original story. And I think that's what storytelling is. It's the journey. So if you have two characters, they start with some story, right? And then as their journey continues, then we're going to learn about their character development, going through their character development through time. And one of the things then that will happen is that, let's say, from one character side of things, they are then going to get mixed up with other things, and whoever they get mixed up with in those other things, also they are mixed up with other people in other things. And you know, so you can see what I mean by, you know, you start off with one thing, but you can end up with 100 things that came off from just that one thing, and that is storytelling. So Skeem Saam, I can say they are good at starting with the two characters and that story, but then for that then to develop into something more, that bit doesn't happen for some reason. I don't know why. So anyway, that was it for this week. The stories that